Cliff's Notes. Damsel is for teenage girls and dudes that sit down when they pee. If you like Damsel, you 100% sit down when you pee. But not catch you peeing standing up. Welcome to It Stinks, a movie mass film review for the movie Damsel. I just watched the movie Damsel. Like 10 minutes ago, I just finished it. I started it like a week ago. I kind of forgot I was watching it. I was going to watch it for this. And honestly, I wanted to hate it so I could just rip it a new asshole in this review, but whatever. I forgot I was even watching it. And then I remembered today, oh yeah, wasn't I watching that dumb movie? Yeah, maybe I should watch the last hour of that dumb movie so I can give a review, having seen the whole thing. Unlike when I reviewed Poor Things. Go watch that if you want to see what a review of half a movie looks like. So Damsel, it stinks, obviously. It's the It Stinks movie review. They all stink, but it stinks. There's been a lot said about Damsel on the internet, on YouTube critics that have said a lot of things, and I don't want to just repeat their same complaints, even though I agree with pretty much all the complaints that I've heard. I'm going to try to bring some novel things to this film. And I'm even going to try to pay it a couple of compliments, even though it stinks. Don't worry, it stinks. I'll try to pay a couple of compliments to this film. First of all, it's got the girl from Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown. And look, she's not hideous to look at. There's something nice to say about the film. They did the smart thing of, like, by the end of the film, she's kind of wearing like tattered rags. So they're showing off like her back, and they have like a stunt back. Like when they're gonna film her from behind near the end of the film, and her clothes are all torn off so you can see her back. They have like a stunt woman come in that's like fucking ripped as shit, like muscly, like fucking deltoid definition and fucking lower scapula and all that fucking shit, all that shit. But then when you see her from the front, you're like, okay, Millie Bobby Brown, A, she got too many names. B, she doesn't exercise. Clearly, she's not like lifting weights or training for this. She's not like Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2, who actually got ripped for a role. She's just kind of like, whatever, I'm here. I'm fucking 20 and I'm naturally fit because I'm fucking 20 and whatever. But you can tell the shots of Millie Bobby Brown, like her arms look soft, her legs just look normal. She doesn't look particularly athletic. And then from the back, they got the stunt back. So it's kind of a complaint. It kind of stinks because, like, just cast the ripped girl. Like, I don't give a shit about Millie Bobby Brown. She's got too many names. Did I mention that? She's got too many names. You got to lose a name. I don't trust anybody with 3 names. Why you need 3 names? Also, Bobby Brown is kind of the guy who ruined Whitney Houston for the world, okay? I contend that if Whitney Houston had never been with Bobby Brown, she'd still be alive today. And we would have excellent Whitney Houston music that we don't have. There's an alternate universe out there where Bobby Brown didn't exist or died in infancy, and he never got with Whitney Houston. And that universe has Whitney Houston albums that we don't have. Whitney Houston is alive today in that universe. She's healthy. She's touring. I am in the audience of a concert, a Whitney Houston concert, waiting for it to begin in another universe. And I'm jealous of that other universe, to be honest with you. So already I don't like the name Bobby Brown. Millie, I guess, is okay. I don't know. It sounds like the name you would name a cow. Like if I had a farm and it was like a dairy farm and I was like churning butter, then like my favorite cow that gave me butter, I would name that cow Millie. It's not like a name you give like a cute girl. It's not like a desirable name like Whitney. That's a nice name. Christina, that's an excellent name. That's my wife's name. So whatever. Millie, again, that's a farm animal. She's tied to a yoke. I'm not trying to insult the person. I don't know anything about Millie Bobby Brown except she's got too many names. And she's pretty mid. Like, I don't know, they dress her up, they get her like the hair and the makeup. Her clothes are in tatters, right? There are rags hanging off of her, which again, smart on behalf of a filmmaker, because there's the scenes where she's like moving around and you got like the breast meat getting like pushed up and mushed around. And I imagine that there's plenty of 13, 14-year-old boys who enjoyed the shit out of that. Didn't do much for me. Like I said, I'm an adult man with an adult wife. you know, it is what it is. I'm not trying to look at the kid from the Stranger Things movies that way. I don't. It's just kind of weird to me. Like I just see her in my brain as an 11-year-old with shaved head, right? It's odd to even see her with long hair. But anyway, Millie Bobby Brown, I think she needs to drop one of the names, and I would drop the get my pop star wife addicted to crack name. I would just call myself Millie Brown. And I don't know, I might even expand the Millie to like Millicent or whatever I'm sure it's short for. You know, Millie probably is not what it says on her birth certificate. It probably says something like Millicent or something like that. And I don't think like Millicent sounds like a wicked, like London 17th century name, but it still doesn't sound like Millie, which is what I'm naming the fucking cow that I get the extra sweet cream from that I'm churning to butter with my fucking bare hands. I'm churning butter. So yeah, she's okay. She's mid. Honestly, we all went to school with girls that looked as good or better than Millie Bobby Brown. So I'm not really hearing people talk about how hot she is, but I feel like I'm bracing myself for it. Like she's gonna keep doing more movies like Damsel, where she got a little bit of that titty meat kind of hanging out, a little cleavage. She's showing off a little leg, and she still got lipstick on, even though she's like the rest of her, like she's been sweating profusely. She's fallen in water like 18 times. She's been like running through the muck, but still she got like the lipstick is perfect. She's smudged everywhere. Her hair's fucked up, but the lipstick is perfect. And the hair, even though it's fucked up, it still looks kind of good in that like windswept kind of way. It's one of these movies that, like, honestly, I don't hate it. I went into it and I wanted to hate it. I don't hate it. Millie Bobby Brown is mid. Okay. I think the story having to do with the dragon, it's all very convoluted, and it felt like an adaptation of like a B-level YA book series. Like this felt like the first in a series of like 4 YA books that they're going to make 6 movies from or some shit. And so it kind of, I don't know, it didn't work for me because I felt like inherently I was not the demographic. A lot of people on YouTube who have complained about Damsel have focused on like the woke shit. And it's pretty, I admit it's pretty silly. It's like, okay, she's like the first half of the movie, she is kind of a classic damsel in distress that you would see in like a storybook or some shit. You know what I mean? Waiting for the prince to come with the armor and the sword on the horse and fucking stab the dragon and save her. And then it subverts that trope a little bit in a couple of ways. It subverts the trope of the fairy tale tropes, like the stepmother, for instance. Millie Bobby Brown got a stepmother. She's not a cracker. Like in most of the stories, she's a white ass stepmom. We got Angela Bassett, wasted on this film. Angela Bassett, phenomenal. She's great. I love her. Wasted on this film. But she's a stepmom and she's not evil. Not only is she not white, but she's not evil either. So it's one of them reversal of expectation things. Because in a fairy tale, if it's a stepmom, she evil 100%. 100% of the time. There's no such thing as a good stepmom. In this movie, the stepmom is good. The stepmom is like, she got her stepdaughter's back. She's like, I don't even care if you didn't come out of my vagina. I'm your stepmom. I took an oath. I made a promise. And I'm going to fucking look out for you. Okay. It also makes things a lot less interesting because it's like, well, you know, sure, the evil stepmom is kind of a cliche, but it's also a trope for a reason. It's been repeated over time because it fucking works. Anyway, you can't make Angela Bassett, the only black woman in the movie, you can't make her wicked. You just can't do it, right? Otherwise, everybody's up in arms. Like, what the fuck? The one black lady in the movies, you got to make her evil? So they make the white lady evil. Robin Wright, formerly Robin Wright Penn, that's how old I am. I remember that shit. She is equally talented, wasted in this movie. Again, just playing just the most royal bitch you could imagine. Literally, she's an evil queen, but she's not a stepmom. So the white lady, the evil queen, she's the wicked lady, and she's just a bitch. There's no nuance to the character. What they could have done is added a little nuance to Robin Wright's character, make her a little conflicted. Like she's got to do this terrible thing, this evil thing for the good of her kingdom. She's got to sacrifice these innocent girls to this fire-breathing dragon. But it's once every generation or 3 times every generation. And unfortunately, it's the type of thing that has to be done to prevent a giant dragon from laying waste to the entire kingdom, which we see at the end of the film. The dragon comes up and fucks up the whole kingdom in a matter of 5 fucking minutes. That dragon bulldozes that kingdom. It's a fucking parking lot at the end of the movie, right? Everything is asphalt. It's fucking, it makes Pompeii look like Disneyland, okay? It makes fucking Pompeii look like um fucking uh whatever that fucking French painting is where everyone's on the grass having a fucking picnic, sur l'herbe or some shit like that. I don't know. I don't fucking speak French. But what I'm saying is that the queen's fears about the safety of her kingdom are well founded, as we see in this movie. By the end of it, we see that all of her worst fears come true. And you're not supposed to feel bad because she's a bitch. So when you see her and her son and her husband, who fucking literally holds his dick the whole fucking movie, I don't think he's got one line in the fucking movie. He just stands there like Prince Valium in Spaceballs, right? He just fucking stands there, like literally, like yawning with one hand down the back of his pants the whole time, like fiddling with his butthole with one hand and yawning with the other. That looked like I was doing something besides yawning. I looked like I was sucking a dick on YouTube. Anyway, he's yawning and playing with his ass the whole time. He's a stupid character. So when he gets burnt up at the end, I'm like, whatever. But then she's like all screaming like she's pissed. Anyway, she had a reason to be worried about the safety of her kingdom. She was generations removed from the evil ancestor who started the whole sacrificing his daughters to the dragon thing. The dragon's got this hundreds of year old blood feud thing going with these people that aren't even responsible anymore. The whole thing, morally, this film is a convoluted mess. Like, we're supposed to hate the white lady queen, bitch, played by Robin Wright, again, wasted in this film. And we do, because she's a bitch. But she's like this one-note character, which is why I'm saying you're wasting Robin Wright in this film on this one-note evil bitch, when really she should have been questioning the necessity of this weird 300-year-old tradition in the first place. And at the same time, she's 300 years removed from the king at the beginning of the movie that killed the dragon babies. What's the dragon still pissed for? You at this point, you're just killing innocent people. You're just fucking George W. Bush pancaking Iraq because fucking Osama bin Laden did some shit, right? Like, I don't want fucking innocent Iraqi civilians getting fucking killed and blown up and bombed like in the millions. I don't want a pancake in Iraqi town because we lost 2 towers, right? I mean, the 5-year-old playing soccer in the streets of Iraq right before he gets blown to shit didn't do anything. The dragon is shown to be a rational creature capable of higher level thought, at least at the level of a human being, capable of human language as well. I don't understand why the intricate moral implications of this thing continuing to kill innocent people hundreds of years after it's had its vengeance, why the fucking dragon gets to be the good guy at the end of the movie, but the bitchy queen, who's really just kind of following orders, and yeah, she is being a bitch about it. It's not lost on me. She sucked, but they could have made the character more complex, more nuanced. They could have developed a little bit more of our empathy for the Robin Wright character, and what they would have had is a more complex tale, right? The dragon killed Millie Bobby Brown's fucking dad while she watched. That guy didn't do shit. He wasn't even part of the fucking kingdom that killed the fucking dragon babies in the beginning. And there's fucking chums at the end. I got 2 daughters, just like in this movie, that guy had 2 daughters, and I got a rule for my 2 daughters. If I get murdered by anything, dragon or otherwise, you're not allowed to fucking be friends with them at the end of the movie just because they were fucking misunderstood. So they paint the dragon as the victim, which in the beginning, the dragon was the victim. Her 3 children got killed unprovoked. Apparently, she says it was unprovoked, but I'm kind of thinking like, well, what do dragons eat? Either people or their people's livestock. I mean, the dragon's not up there in the fucking mountains living off the fucking grapes and pineapples that aren't growing up there. Those fucking lizards eat meat, right? She's not fucking having broccoli and cauliflower. She's the size of a fucking house. So she's probably eating like cows and bulls and fully grown adult humans. So like the idea of killing the dragon isn't like, hey, look, we're racist. Let's go kill the dragon because it doesn't look like us, right? Look at this white skin. That dragon's not like me. Let's go kill it. That's not the reason why people kill dragons. People kill dragons because in the stories, they tend to be predatory creatures. And if you don't want to get ripped to shreds when you're out in your fucking field tending to your flock, then you have to go take care of the fucking flesh-eating monster that's gonna fucking kill you, or your fucking all of your cows and your family starves. I personally, I see the coexistence of dragons and humans as being problematic inherently. And the story of this movie should have helped me to get past that initial assessment of problematic relationship, cohabitation. This film does nothing to help me understand why and how dragons and people can potentially live together. There's a thing that dragons can eat that won't interfere with like human prosperity. They won't eat any people and they won't eat our livestock. So we can continue to exist, coexist. They're going to go eat something else that we don't need if they just eat the fuck out of, because they're the size of a fucking house. So when there's 10 of them, they eat 10 fucking houses. So this movie don't ask these questions when you see Damsel. This movie does stink. It really, I say that about good movies that I do like. This one is just, the more I fucking talk about it, the more it's just, I know it's a silly movie about dragons. I suspended my disbelief. I'm not going to complain that they somehow have a medieval kingdom that's like completely racially integrated. It looks like fucking Atlanta. It looks like downtown Atlanta. It's like white guy, black lady, Asian lady. It's fucking everything, right? And they're all mixed together and everyone's cool. But for some reason, it's like they're still racist against the dragons. They still got to go we're going to go kill the dragon babies for no reason. It's a totally diverse group of knights. We got an Asian lady, actually. We got a black dude, two black dudes. We've got, and actually, we've got a Native American, even though this is like medieval Europe or some shit. This is a fantasy world. We actually flew in a Native American. And we got, obviously, we got two white guys. And we're just going to go kill the dragons. We're all cool with each other. We're living in this like very racially diverse kind of society where we got no problems unless you're not human. And then we're going to fucking kill you for being a dragon. It makes no sense. So I'm not buying the unprovoked thing. I think that's bullshit. But even if that dragon was the victim in the beginning, the dragon lady, they don't give the dragon a name too, which makes it very difficult to talk about in a review like this. But even if the dragon lady was a victim in the beginning, when you continue to kill people for 300 years, you're not the victim anymore, right? And I think in addition to making a more complex queen character and having a more complex villain that the audience can even sympathize with a little bit, they could have made a more complex statement about the cyclical nature of revenge, right? And how people get pulled into that, and how this thing might have started as a very justifiable beef between the dragon and the knights who killed the dragon's babies. The dragon had every right to kind of exact its revenge, but then if you're still exacting revenge on this person's bloodline 300 years later, you're kind of the bad guy now, right? The dragon is kind of the bad guy. Like, I feel for the dragon, right? I'm a father. I have children, right? It's easy to empathize with a character, even a non-human character, that loses its children. And so it's easy to feel that kind of righteous, like, yes, you are a victim, but you were made whole like 100 years ago, right? I mean, the idea that you're 200 years ago, I don't know, 300 years ago, the idea that this dragon is continuing to kill innocent people that are generations removed from the original wrongdoer that made the dragon a victim in the first place, you are now the victimizer, right? The dragon is now victimizing innocent people that had nothing to do with the murder of that dragon's babies. And there is no time spent in this film to contemplate how a victim can become a victimizer, how that bridge gets, that gap gets bridged. I might have had a stroke. That's how bad this movie is. That's how bad it stinks. It gave me a fucking stroke. But there's really just no effort made in trying to like unpack some of these themes that would have really made film. But forget all that. Throw all that out, right? Forget I said all of that, because what they really should have done is made this like a campy film that's self-referential, tongue-in-cheek, and make it a send-up. There's a scene near the end where Millie Bobby Brown is doing kind of like a Rambo / Commando thing. In Commando, Arnold Schwarzenegger's like putting on all the paint and putting all the knife in there and the fucking gun and tucking a fucking gun in his butt and fucking puts one underneath each armpit. He's got like a bazooka underneath each armpit. He's just loaded up. Like he's like balancing a shotgun on his head, you know, so he can go storm the island. And he's got like ammo. He can just like bazooka somebody, pull the shotgun off his head, shotgun them. He throws a fucking saw blade and chops the top of a dude's head off. That fucking shit is awesome. That movie doesn't stink. This movie stinks because nobody gets the top of their head chopped off with a goddamn saw blade. But she's doing that thing where she's like, I'm going to grab a sword and I'm going to grab some armor and I'm cutting my hair off and I'm fucking tying up my fucking thing around my arm. And, you know, she's doing that thing where it's like real, it's like this quick montage that makes you feel like she did all this shit in like 5 minutes. But it's really like, that's like a whole day's worth of shit at least. But somehow she manages it in like, I don't know, maybe a 30-minute time period within the diegetic time of the film. And it's also kind of like Rambo 2 because it looks like she's setting like little traps or whatever, which, you know, it's really kind of silly. That's one of the stupidest parts of the whole movie. It struck me as just really silly that she's putting all this shit together and creating this and doing the commando thing and cutting her hair off and using the hair, like tying the hair into something. I don't know. I thought she was going to make a fucking bow and arrow like Katniss or some shit. That's how YA this felt. But they really should have leaned into that. Like it very much felt like an overt reference to those kind of 80s movies like Commando, where the hero has this montage where they're getting ready to go, like the climax is about to begin. They're about to go storm the island or whatever and rescue their daughter. Like John Matrix from fucking Commando, which is a real fucking movie, you assholes. But they didn't lean into that. If they had in that moment kind of leaned that and made it more of a cheesy movie, yeah, and Millie Bobby Brown is running around like literally wearing 2 washcloths by the end of the movie. Like that could have been a silly running gag. Like she starts out wearing like a fucking wedding gown, right? I mean, she's starting out with like a lot of clothes on. And through this like adventure that she's having in this fucking labyrinth, you know, she's like, the clothes are getting ripped because she's climbing up stuff and she's falling down. So like, yeah, that's believable. Your clothes would get tarnished and dirty and torn, and you'd tear the sleeves off because they would be impeding you from your movement and shit like that. You tear the big skirt off or whatever. But instead of doing it like this cheesy kind of tongue-in-cheek, like it could have been a send up to B movies, 80s movies, and it could have been very like lovingly done, where it's a kind of comedic. She keeps losing clothes and it's almost self-referential where she's like trying to cover shit up, and it could have been funny. I mean, it could have been like lean into the stupid, like it's a stupid movie with stupid scenes, but they play it for real instead of leaning into the cheese. And I really think they should have leaned into the cheese, because fuck nuanced characters played by Robin Wright, and fuck complex statements about the cyclical nature of revenge and victimizers victims becoming victimizers over time. Fuck all that, because it's just Netflix. All right, all we want to do is get high and watch a movie. And if it's a funny movie that leans into being cheesy and 80s and B movie, all the better, right? This movie didn't do that. It stinks. Millie Bobby Brown she needs to lose a name. Millie Brown sounds better. Millicent Brown sounds even better than Millie Bobby Brown. I'm not looking forward to the next season of Stranger Things. That show jumped the shark too. I'll talk more about that in a separate video because I've already gone on long enough. Don't watch Damsel, it stinks. Go watch Commando instead. He chops a dude's fucking head off by throwing a saw blade like it's a fucking frisbee. Shit. The algorithm is not going to like this video.